I grew up in a family that made ice cream. I have pictures of me in diapers standing next to a White Mountain crank. And we learned how to make ice cream when we were kids, rock salt, ice, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I also, as I said, grew up in Southern California eating at Thrifty's drugstore. And for other parts of the country, you might know it as Rite Aid. Rite Aid purchased Thrifty's drug, but they kept Thrifty's ice cream.
Oh,
And in Southern California, it's a major brand. It's a big deal. But when I was a kid, you could get a scoop for a quarter.
oh,
And
nice.
when my mom was a kid, you could get a scoop for a nickel.
Wow.
And so they still don't charge a lot for their scoops. It's not that expensive. But I would get their rainbow sherbet. So I've always loved sherbet. And for about 10 years, every summer I said, I'm going to try making sherbet. And we'd get to the end of summer and it didn't happen. And 3 years ago, I decided that's it. I'm making sherbet. And I made raspberry, lemon, lime, and orange, your most standard of flavors for
I
sherbets.
do love the rainbow.
And they turned out so much better than what you buy in the grocery store.
I
And I
bet.
happen to have some frozen boysenberries because, again, I'm from Southern California and we like our boysenberries. And that's what everybody has in their freezer.
Of course.
And so I made boysenberry sherbet. And from that point on, my life was basically changed.
Oh,
And
wow.
yes, and I've lived here in the Springs off and on for 15 years, but one of my brothers and his wife and kids, they were driving across the country moving from California to Massachusetts. So I made my version of rainbow sherbet, which had 8 flavors. It had
Wow.
lemon, lime, orange, blood orange, passion fruit, raspberry, boysenberry, and strawberry. And this was July, and we all sat on the back porch with my parents and my sister and the kids, and we'd all have a scoop on a cake cone and just enjoy the ice cream. And the kids, ages 8, 10, and 12 at the time, were adamant that Auntie Beth should start a company.
Oh,
And so it went in the someday file. And
right.
my sister-in-law, whom I love and adore, she had told me it was the best thing I had ever made. I went to culinary school. I have a degree in pastry and baking. So I do a lot of fiddling in the kitchen. And she said the reason that the sherbet was the best thing I'd ever made was the disparity between my version and what you could buy in the grocery store.
Oh, I bet.
And she said it was so far above the commercial equivalent that that made it the best thing I'd ever made. And fast forward probably a year, and they were out here again. And the 8-year-old and I are chatting at the dining room table, and she just goes, "Do you have any?" And I was like, "I don't know. Any what? Sherbet?" And I just got a, and I went, "No, no, yeah." And it was whatever combination of flavors were in the freezer, but I immediately had the attention of all the nieces and my nephew. And we pulled it out, scraped off the freezer burn because it was not
Right.
fresh. And everybody ate some, and they, in earnest, started developing a business plan for me, including naming my company because they just thought it was so cute to put Auntie Beth's name with Sherbet, and Sherbeth's
It's
was born.
very
Yeah.
clever.
Yes, circumstances came about just literally a month after that visit. And I went, you know what? I'm going to do it. Started getting all my licensing in place because when you work with raw fruit and when you work with dairy products, you have to be specially licensed. And so got to work on those and developing more flavors. And the kids have been involved in that. Um, I have a premium flavor that's not always available, but it's based on grilled pineapple,
Woo.
which my nephew loves at a particular Brazilian barbecue restaurant where they live. And the now 10-year-old, used to be 8, uh, she, one day I was talking to the kids on the phone and she goes, "Auntie Beth, I know a flavor you should try. And I said, okay, give it to me. And she goes, grapefruit. And I went, I don't like grapefruit, but all right, I love you. I'll give it a whirl. And all of my grapefruit tasting people had to taste test that because I don't like grapefruit.
I'm not a fan, especially if it's sour. If it's like the pink grapefruit and a little bit
Hmm.
naturally sweet, I'm okay. But the sour stuff, not, so I'm like you.
Yeah, all that bitter comes through to me and I
Yeah.
can't manage it. But like I said, I love the kids. So I did, and I named the flavor after her. And the Brazilian barbecue is named after my nephew. And then I have one other flavor named after a niece, and that's raspberry. And it just so happened her name is Claire. Her other grandmother has called her Claire Bear since the day she was born. And her favorite fruit is raspberry. And she has a very sharp, tart sense of humor. So it seemed to be the perfect mix. So Claireberry is raspberry, but it's named after her.